Hey everyone, I'm Angie with Adventures in No Madness, and today we want to show you how to check for leaks at your propane tanks and how to change your pigtails. Pigtails? Pigtails. So one of the things we want to check as our RV comes out of storage is the connections here. The best way to do that is to take some dishwater. This is just some Dawn and some water, and you spray it on the connections. That will tell you if you have any leaks at all. So I'm going to spray it here, and then if there's a leak, it's going to bubble up. Oh no, there's definitely a leak there. And I'm going to check the other one, and the other one is good. No bubbles there, but lots of bubbles here. Well, it's partially because I already loosened that a little bit so I can demonstrate what it would look like if you had a leak. I'm going to close both tanks right now. The tools you're going to need for this is a 9/16 wrench, a 1/2 inch wrench, and then I'll talk about these other pigtails in a second. Some soapy water and some propane tape, thread tape. All right. So I'm going to remove this first pigtail. So I already had that loose. All right, when I came out to inspect, you know, we've had some pretty kind of wide temperature swings, and it made these rubber propane pigtails deteriorate pretty fast. And so when you're looking at your propane pigtails, you want to look for this exactly right here, is all this cracking. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely time to change these out. There's two types that I found off of Amazon. One is the regular type, the rubber type, which are the traditional, and I've just bought those as a backup set. What I want to try is the stainless steel. These are going to be a little bit better in weather, you know, lots of different weather conditions. I don't know how these hold up compared to the other ones, and trying to find information online as far as which one's better than the other, I couldn't really find anything. So if you have any information, please put that in the comments below and help me out as far as which one's better here. I have already put some thread sealant tape on here. It's yellow as propane for gas itself, and there's also some debate on whether you need to put these on these threaded fittings or this flared fittings. So this one came from Amazon and already had something in it, so I don't know if they sold me a used one. And here's what it looks like without anything on it. So I am gonna I already put some tape on here, and the one that came off already had tape on there also, so hence I'm going to go ahead. Just want to make sure that when you put the tape on, you don't get any inside, because if it comes off, it'll maybe clog up one of your orifices when it goes through. The nice thing about this one too, it actually has a gauge on here, and we'll test that to see how that works. All right, I got my 9/16 wrench to hold that other, oops, the old one was 1/2 inch, so you need a 1/2 inch to remove it, and my new one has a 7/16, so hang on. All right, so I'm gonna take my 9/16, hold that nut right there. I'm taking this one and I'm gonna tighten that up, and these are 12 inch. That threaded on there pretty good. And I know this one's empty, so if I turn that on, that's still showing empty. Okay, I'm gonna go do the other one now. That tank back on. Ooh, yeah, that's showing green. All right, so these gauges definitely work. I'm gonna turn this one back on again. And then, of course, because I changed these lines, I want to double check, make sure the connections are all good and not leaking. I'm gonna go ahead and check down here too. And just basically gonna check anywhere where I can find a propane connection. All right, those look good, so you can go around and check any other propane connections you have. Now, this is just for this part here. When you want to check the propane system throughout the entire RV, there's a couple routes you can go with that. One is to get a manometer. They do sell them on Amazon, and there's videos on how to do that. I do know that when we hired an inspector, a certified inspector, after we bought our Escape, he had a hard time accessing a good spot. Normally they do that at the stove, so he actually skipped that part, but it was brand new. We weren't worried about it. However, you know, we will probably take this in at some point and have it professionally looked at as far as making sure there's no propane leaks anywhere in the system, and you need a manometer to do that. So that's what I would recommend. If you smell propane at any time inside your RV or outside, stop and make sure you figure out where that's coming from, because there was a recent story on the Escape page, a Facebook page, and on the forum as far as a bad incident with propane inside the RV with the Suburban stovetop. Another thing to look at on your propane system up front here is your tanks. They do have a manufacturer date on there. It's a little hard to find, but this one is 7/15. So some places when you get your propane filled will look at that, and then they'll make you change your tanks, and it says you need to recertify, requalify these after 10 to 12 years depending on the tank. The only place I've ever had look and be a problem with older tanks we had was U-Haul, but it's something that could happen. At that point, we'll probably just, when it gets to that point, just do one of those propane exchange things. It's always cheaper to get your propane from bulk and have these filled. I definitely would not recommend doing the propane exchange where you take your whole tank in and then, you know, you get a whole nother tank out of that. Oh my God, that is so expensive. Boo. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.